And Scott, how in the cold light of day do you reflect on Lincoln? Lots of positives, but in the end, sadly, a familiar tale and familiar result.
Yeah, it's there's no different from the way we were thinking after the game. That the first half, especially, we were well on top, and we needed to score when we were on top, and obviously succumbed to a wonder strike and a mistake, and that's the story where we are at the moment. It's very, very frustrating. We spoke afterwards about making sure that we maintain what we were doing. We played so well in the first half, and we needed to continue doing that second half. But as soon as we went 3-0 down, it sort of killed the game as a spectacle a little bit. And then the last 20 minutes, we started doing things and started getting a little bit loose in our play, and looked a little bit fragmented because lads so desperate to get back into the game that they were trying all sorts. So it's about maintaining the quality of what we do, and we had done in the first half throughout the game. And things are going to go against you. People are going to make mistakes, or people are going to score goals like that every now and again. But it just seems to be happening all at once. That we have got to pick ourselves up and go again, because the first half was as good as we played, and we create some good chances, and we just need them to go in, and that's where it counts in both boxes at the moment. And we're second best in both boxes at the moment.
And how's the mood in the dressing room, or maybe more importantly, how's the mood in the manager's office? They're still confident of pulling this through?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very easy to get down and disheartened, but you do have to look at it, and if the players weren't giving me everything they had and weren't creating chances and weren't working as hard on the training ground, then you'd have to question what we're doing. But they are, and it's frustrating for everybody, staff, players, directors, fans alike. We understand the frustrations, but I think it's very easy to jump on the bandwagon, and rather than see it for what it is, and like you said after the game, it's very hard to ask difficult questions when we played so well. And you saw the amount of Lincoln supporters and people involved with the football club have come up to us and said that we were probably the best side they've played, particularly in the first half. And that's no consolation when you've lost a game, but it's consolation when you know that you've brought 3 new players in, and we've worked very hard in the days that we've been off to try and improve, and that's shown in the way that we've performed. But we've got to convert into goals, there's no doubt about it. We're not naive, we're not sticking our head in the sand. We need to score goals. We're working out and trying to find different ways. Our set pieces were better, delivery was better. We created a few chances from those. In open play we created a few chances, but I've got to make the keeper work a little bit better, or we just got to have a bit of luck, whatever it might be. But we've got to keep plugging away.
And we've talked a lot about performances, how good they have been, but is tomorrow night against Kidderminster more about getting a result? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got to win games. Like everyone wants a great performance and a good win, but it's about winning, and it doesn't matter how it comes. We've got to get back on the bike and go again and start pushing forward. And we need to pick up points, and we need to win, and we need to give everyone a little bit of a lift, really. And it's very hard when you're getting battered and bruised from games when you're playing and you feel like you deserve something out of it and don't get it, and things go against you. You feel like the weight of the world's on your shoulders. But I think that it showed in the majority of the game on Saturday that we play with a bit of freedom, and we play with expression, and people were doing things that we wanted them to do, and in majority was pretty good. But if one comes off someone's backside and goes in, we win 1-0, I don't care really. It's about winning the game.
Because the cushion between the bottom 4 and ourselves is squeezing a little bit. Is that becoming a concern, or are you still looking upwards?
Yeah, obviously, the amount of the form we're on at the moment, we're looking all round, but we've got to make sure that we win games. If we win games, then we can start separating ourselves from the teams below us. Of course, it's been a frustrating season in all aspects, really. We haven't scored the goals we did last year. We have had a lot of injuries again, and we haven't sustained the push that we felt that we could do. So it's very, very frustrating. We're trying to turn it around with the players we brought in. I think it shows that we're trying to do something. We're still very low on numbers, and we haven't got many options. And money's tight, but we're trying, and we're trying to do everything we can to make sure that we do something to get us out of this little this run of form that we're in.
And the win at Kidderminster back in November was one of the highlights of the season so far. It's easy to say that sort of thing needs to be replicated tomorrow night.
Yeah, lots changed from both sides. I think they've lost some players. They've got issues with with their squad, and but they're picking up results here and there. Haven't been really consistent, and likewise our squad and our team's changed considerably since then, and so yeah, it's very similar to a lot of games in this league, that by the time you play someone again, generally that's the squads and the way that things are going have changed. So we've got to assess it as it is, and take the game to them, and approach it as we would any other game, but sort of be more dynamic in what we do going forward, and really try and sustain more pressure for longer periods of time, and we've got to cut out their mistakes, because we've got to give ourselves a chance of winning games. And certainly the second goal on Saturday really put us on the back foot, and gave them a lot of heart. Speaking to them afterwards, they couldn't wait to get in at half time, and all of a sudden they find themselves 2-0 up, and it's a completely different story. So we need to make sure we cut out mistakes, and if we do that, then we've got to keep persevering. And
more than ever, maybe tomorrow night, the club, the team need the fans in numbers and volume, because they can make a difference.
Yeah, it goes without saying. I know it's difficult, and it's difficult times for them and for us as well. But the time that I've been here, it's been some very difficult times, and we've come through it. And the games like Portsmouth and the home games against Rochdale and things like that really give everyone a lift, and realise how good this place could be when it's jumping and when things are going well. And we need everybody to help turn it around and to give us a push and lift forward. And we're doing everything we can to make sure that we give the crowd something to shout about, and hopefully they'll get behind us and support us as much as they have been.